This online class is focused on bringing balance and cultivating well-being within the nervous system. In particular, we're going to be paying attention to a branch of the peripheral nervous system, the autonomic nervous system. There are further two parts to the autonomic nervous system: the sympathetic, which is our fight or flight or that stress mode, and the parasympathetic, which is the rest and digest. Today's practice is focused on finding a balance between the sympathetic, where a lot of us live constantly in fight or flight mode, and the parasympathetic. For that, we will be using the breath and physical movement to communicate to our nervous system that all is well. Did you know that on average we take 18,000 to 23,000 breaths per day? And how many of those breaths do you think are conscious? Practicing correct and mindful breathing and moving the body in a way that feels good is a great way to move out of our flight or fight mode and begin to feel more well, happy, and balanced, mind, body, and spirit. So we're going to begin today's class in reclining butterfly or a supported butterfly. So Bryce and Nadine, I'm going to get you to use your blanket. So those of you at home that don't have a bolster, just grab your blanket, have it in half, and then just roll it into like a log shape. Place it at the top of your mat, line up your tailbone, bring your feet together, and then lie yourself back in butterfly. You guys over here, I'm going to get you to grab your block and your bolster. So if you've got a bolster at home, then feel free to grab that. Place your block at the top of your mat. Place your bolster on an angle. Don't worry if the block collapses, nothing bad will happen, you'll just fall. Line up your tailbone with the end of your block. Bring the soles of the feet together. I'm just going to move that just a little bit. Yeah, cool. And then just lean the torso back. Beautiful. This pose feels nicest, especially those of you with a bolster, to have the arms away from the body, the palms facing upwards, and it's just a really nice opening through the chest. Otherwise, arms can be down alongside you. You can place one hand on belly, one hand on chest. If you are on your back without support of the bolster, you could even bring your arms up overhead. I'm just going to give you a few moments to settle into the pose. And then we'll open our practice today with some conscious, mindful breathing. So take a moment to scan the body and just notice any pockets of tension. Might be through the jaw, space between the eyebrows. Can you relax the back of the head, the shoulders, right across the chest, the stomach, and the thighs, the feet. So today's practice is all about using the breath to help calm the nervous system. Every conscious breath that we take is sending a message of wellness to our bodies. Helps us to find a balance between that fight or flight and the rest and digest branches of the nervous system. So if you feel ready, breathing in and out through the nostrils, I'd like to invite you to take an inhale and fill the belly up like a balloon. As you exhale, just emptying the breath out completely. No need to force or make it a harsh or aggressive breath. Just taking in as much as you can. Inhale to belly. Exhale fully. Keep on going in your own time. If butterfly becomes too much for the hips at any stage, or the lower back begins to niggle, feel free to bring the knees back together and just have the feet on the floor. If you're feeling fairly comfortable with that breath into the belly and you feel like you could expand that, on your next inhale, take the breath into the belly and then roll the breath up into the ribs and feel the ribs expand outwards. And then slow exhale out. Next breath in, fill up the belly, roll it up to the ribs. Complete exhale. If you're still feeling fairly comfortable and you feel like you could extend that breath, on the next inhale, draw the breath into the belly, roll the breath to the ribs, feel them expand, and then roll that same breath up into the chest. Feel the chest lift, rise, and then slow exhale all the way back out. At this point, if it feels okay, you may even hold the breath in right at the peak of the inhale and then slowly release out. If you are pregnant at the time of this class, just not holding the breath. Keep the mind focused on breathing. So right now, your full awareness and attention is communicating with the body that you are well, that you are okay, that you are safe. But at the same time, you're feeling alert enough, should you need to. Always wanting to keep that balance. All right, 5 more breaths like this. These last couple of breaths, can you relax the shoulders anymore? Feel the chest open just a little bit more. And then just very, very mindfully and slowly help the knees to close over. Use your hands. Once the soles of the feet are on the floor, just be still for a moment. Let everything reset. And then if you like, you could gently drop the knees to the right and left, just a window wiper. Let the body realign. And then just go ahead and carefully press yourself up so that you can move the blanket or the bolster and the block out of the way so that you can lay down flat on your back. Take your time, no rush. If you have a sensitive lower back and lying with the legs straight out isn't comfortable, feel free to either use a pillow or cushion underneath your knees, or you could even keep the knees bent and the feet on the floor. We're just using this little rebound interlude just to let the body integrate, the body and the mind to integrate the work that we've just done. From here, we're going to move into a nice yin twist. So just bringing the feet to the floor, knees bent. Keep the feet a hip width apart. And you can decide once the knees have dropped over towards the right what you want to do with your arms, just wherever is most comfortable for your arms as we hold this pose. So take a nice deep full breath in. And as you exhale, let the knees just gently drop over to the right. Feel free to place a pillow or your blanket underneath the knees for support if you like. If you've got a bolster, you could even use the bolster. Feel free to leave the gaze looking upwards, or you could look over the left shoulder. And from this shape that we're making now, let yourself settle back into the breath. Conscious breathing in, conscious breathing out. Continuing to draw the breath into the belly, flowing up to the ribs and in the chest. Slowing the exhale down as much as you can. Might take a moment to scan the body and relax any tension that you might be holding that doesn't need to be there. Three more mindful breaths on this side. Awareness and attention solely on breathing. And then when you're ready, slowly drift the knees through center, turn them or let them gently drop over to the left. Find a comfortable position for your arms. Use any support under the knees that you need. And then turn your attention to breathing, belly, ribs, chest. Full inhales, all of the torso filled. If you ever catch yourself as you lay still, off on a daydream or going on autopilot, just notice what's happening, let it go, and then focus your attention back on breathing. Taking this time to communicate with the body, wellness, safety. Three more breaths here. And just gently bring the knees back to center. Let the feet just ground for a moment. Let the body realign. Practice your breathing from this point here. Moving mindfully, just turning over onto your right side so that you can press yourself up. We're going to come into caterpillar as our next posture. For those of you at home that don't have a bolster, you can grab pillows off the bed, 2 or 3 pillows if you need them. Steal all the pillows in the house. And then place the bolster underneath the knees or your pillows, blankets, whatever you can find that's nice and cushioned and supportive. Ground down through the sit bones, and then we're simply just going to let the torso just drape over the legs. Let the head be really heavy. A nice way to release through the upper back area is to turn the palms and have them facing upwards. This can be on the floor, on your feet, on your shins, wherever you are. If you feel like you need support for the head and the neck, then you can use a block or a folded blanket or anything that you have handy. Once again, just giving yourself a moment to adjust to the shape we're making with the body in this posture. And then move into that deep, mindful, healing breath. See if you can feel yourself folding inwards a little bit more with every exhale. Finding space. On your inhale, see if you can feel the breath through the spine and the back of the torso as well. Don't forget the breath. Notice the quality of your breath from the beginning of class to now. Is there a little bit more depth? Maybe a little bit more length? Does it feel smoother? Do you feel calmer? More aware? Five more breaths here. To your next exhale, and there's no rush at all. We're just slowly going to roll up through the torso. And just removing the bolster or your blankets or pillows and just shuffling it out the way. Bring the hands back behind you, fingertips facing outwards, and bring the feet to the floor, and just let everything reset here for a moment. And then if you'd like to, you can just gently sway the knees side to side. Okay, we're moving on to pigeon pose now. I have two different options for you. If you know where you're going, feel free to come into pigeon. If you have sensitive knees or sensitive hips, or just hips that aren't as flexible, then come onto your back and just wait for further instruction. Otherwise, come up onto hands and knees. Slide the right shin forward first, so we're sliding the shin forward through to the front, right knee behind the right wrist, and then we're just going to extend the left leg out back. Now it's really important in pigeon that the hips stay even, so we're not dipping over to the right or to the left. And you can stay up on fingertips if you like to stretch through the chest, or if you like, you could surrender down and lower the torso, maybe stack the hands, rest the forehead. If you are on your back, go ahead and bend the knees, bring the soles of the feet to the floor, and then lift the right foot and place the right ankle on the left thigh. Those of you at home, if you can feel that the right hip in particular is dropping, I'm just going to use you as an example here. Just lift the hip up. Then just place a blanket or a cushion or pillow underneath the hip. If you are on your back and you feel like you'd like to add a little bit more intensity to this hip opening, you can lift the left foot off the floor and then interlace the fingers behind the thigh. If you are in that position, just make sure you can keep your shoulders nice and soft. So before we focus back in on our breathing, can we soften anywhere that doesn't need to be tense? We let go of our stress physically first, and then it will help to let go mentally, emotionally. So we soften shoulders, forehead, elbows, wrists, hands, face, maybe the right thigh. And once you feel that you're able to switch your attention to mindful breathing, then go there. Inhale belly, roll it up to the ribs. Feel them expand first and then continue on up to the chest, all the way up to the collarbones. Slow exhale out. Remembering every breath is a communication. Every breath letting the body know that you're safe, you're well. When the body feels that it's safe and that your well-being is balanced, then it can focus on digesting your food, on your metabolism, on your reproductive part of the body. All those things that get shut down when we're in stress mode. 3 more breaths here. Once you've taken your third exhale, if you're on your front in pigeon, then just very carefully pressing yourself up, and however you need to get there, bringing yourself onto your belly with your legs extended. Just take it nice and easy. And either stack your hands one on top of the other, rest your forehead down, or if it's more comfortable for you, you can have your arms down alongside you, palms facing up and resting a cheek on the mat. Toes together, heels out. Feel free to shimmy the hips. If you're on your back, then just come into a little mini Shavasana, legs out nice and long. Perfect opportunity to rest and reset. And from this position, let's just see if there's anything that we can relax. Find the tension. Release it physically. And then when you're ready, we'll move on to the left side. So just gently pressing yourself up if you're on your front. If you're on your back, then just bending the knees, this time left ankle to right thigh. If you're on your front, sliding that left shin forward. Really focusing on keeping the hips nice and even. Feel free to spend time up or coming straight down, completely up to you. And just be aware that our sides are very different and unique, so it may look different or feel different on this side. Give yourself a moment to just settle in, perhaps working on releasing tension where it's not needed. Notice the quality of your breath. Spending these moments practicing your breath. Three more breaths here. Big breaths into belly. Roll it up. And then up again. Maybe hold it. And then full exhale. After your next exhale, just slowly and mindfully moving into your rebound. If you're on your front, your belly, on your back, just onto Shavasana. If you need a little downward facing dog in between, feel free to do that. Once again, just bring the toes together, let the heels hang out if you're on your front. If you're on your back, then just let the toes hang out. If you're on your back, then bring yourself onto your belly. Our last pose before we begin to really wind down is called Sphinx pose. So I'm going to get you to prop yourself up onto your forearms to begin with. If you have a blanket handy, then you might like to just unfold it and place it underneath where your hips are going to be for some support. Just an option. So for Sphinx pose to begin with, I want you to press up into your forearms. So have the forearms nice and flat on the floor. Have the fingers spread nice and wide, just like you do in downward facing dog. If you can feel this already in your lower back, then I'm going to get you to slide your elbows forward. So to begin with, your shoulders will be over top of your elbows. If that feels like too much, just inch them forward until you find something that feels okay. Now, if it still feels too much, then you can just simply rest your forehead down on stacked hands. It's still a bit of a back bend, you'll still feel it. The feet are about a hip width apart, tops of the feet pressing into the floor just gently. And I want you to press through the elbows and the hands to create lift so that the chest can come forward a little bit into Sphinx pose. Feel free to close the eyes. Keep those shoulders drawing down, back of the neck long. You may not be able to have the breath quite so deep from this position, but find something that feels healing, that feels nice. Keep pressing down through the forearms. I am going to give the option to increase the intensity in this pose and shift into seal pose. If you're comfortable where you are, stay there. If you'd like to move this along a little way, then I'm going to get you to keep your elbows where you are, but just bring the hands outwards towards the edges of your mat a little way. Press into the hands and then take an inhale, lift the elbows up. Now this can become quite intense, so if it doesn't feel nice and you can't breathe while you're in it, then just come back down. We won't stay here for too long, just about 5 breaths. Keep on relaxing the features of the face. Press down through the hands. Last breath here. And be really mindful as you gently lower yourself down. You can bring the torso down. Once again, feel free to stack the hands if you like, or bring arms down alongside you, palms facing up, resting a cheek on the mat. Slowly draw your toes together. Let your heels hang out. Give the hips just a very gentle little shimmy. And just let the upper body completely soften. All right, very mindful movements. Turning yourself over onto your back. For our final pose, our Shavasana, if you have a bolster or your pillows or cushions at home, blankets, feel free to place them under the knee for some support. Otherwise, legs can be nice and long. If you don't have anything for support, feel free to keep the knees bent, knock the knees inwards and have the feet out towards the edges of the mat. Take a big inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, flatten the shoulder blades down. Lengthen the back of the neck. Take another inhale. And exhale. Take another inhale, fill your belly. And as you exhale, relax all the organs within the stomach and let that relaxation trickle through to the hips. Take another inhale, squeeze the muscles of the thighs. And as you exhale, completely relax them and let the toes drop out. Now let the breath become natural and calm, spontaneous. As you float away into your rest. Slowly begin to deepen the breath, drawing it back into the belly, up to the ribs, finishing in the chest all the way up to the collarbones, slowly releasing the breath out. Taking a couple more rounds, deep inhales, slow exhales. Beginning to wiggle the fingers and the toes, turning the head slightly from side to side if you like. Eventually reaching the arms up overhead, taking a big breath in and stretching from your fingertips down to your toes. Slowly bending the knees and turning over onto your side and letting yourself completely relax once you're on your side. No rush to get anywhere. And gently press yourself up into a comfortable seat, eyes closed. Use any props that you need to sit nice and tall. Nice long spine, shoulders drawing down. Spending these last few moments breathing into the belly, rolling up through the ribs, all the way up into the chest, and slowly exhaling the breath out. Sending any last little messages to the body. And bringing your palms together, pressing your thumbs against your chest. Taking one last inhale all the way up to the chest, to heart center, exhaling fully. Bring your chin to your chest. Give yourself a smile for your practice, for your conscious breaths, your self-healing. Bring your thumbs to your forehead in honor of yourself and those that may be around you today. Namaste. Thank you.